Artist Guitars were kind enough to send me out their Artist Starter Pack. This one comes in at 249 Australian dollars, which at the time of doing this video is around 150 US dollars or 150 euros. It comes not only with a guitar, but a practice amp, a strap, a gig bag, and a bunch of accessories. Let's see what we can do with this thing. We're going to have a listen to some very basic tones, and I'm going to have a little jam here in the kitchen because at this price point, it's one of the few packages which comes with a little amp that supports a Bluetooth connection. So the whole idea with this is that it is an all-in-one plug and play solution if you're a beginner. If you want to start playing electric guitar, you basically get everything that you need in this package. Let's go. The most important part of the package is, of course, the guitar. You can see it's a 3-tone Sunburst Strat style guitar. We'll do a very quick close-up on it and have a look at some of the specs on here. I have tried some other Artist guitars in the past, including their 8-string and their Falcon, which is a little offset. I absolutely love the Falcon. That has to be one of the most impressive guitars at its price point. So I'm coming in with some expectations around what Artist do. I know they offer quite a lot of value for money at the price point, and their builds and the overall fit and finish is generally pretty impressive. Let's have a look. I've removed the plastic covering from the scratch plate, but otherwise this is fresh out of the box. So let's do a very quick inspection. Starting with the body, the finish is really smooth and consistent on here. Classic look with the 3-tone Sunburst, 3 single coil pickups, master volume, 2 tone controls. There is a 5-way selector, so you can get all your classic Strat sounds out of here, classic Strat style top mount jack and vibrato bridge. I like that someone has clearly taken the time to set this up and intone the guitar before it goes out of the factory. That is a big win, especially if this is your first guitar. We take a look at the back, very similar fit and finish. This is really nice and tidy, nothing to complain about here. Back plate, which I would probably immediately take off and leave off on here, but if you want to leave it on, there's actually enough room in here to put a string through there into the back of the bridge, and that is something that on guitars at a much higher price point, you're not necessarily guaranteed of. Now, the website says this is a poplar body with a basswood veneer, so I'm guessing the back and top are a veneer, which you would probably figure as well because there is a solid black all around the edge on here, I'm guessing to mask that. Let's take a look at the neck and headstock on here. So, you know, standard style Artist Guitars headstock, very Strat style on here. You've got 2 string trees to keep some nice pressure down over the nut. Very basic tuners on here, nothing to complain about. They work. Maple neck, this has a pretty modern, I'd say medium C or medium D profile. It is not too thin, it's definitely not too thick or baseball bat-like on there. Again, very good. If you're a beginner, I'm not sure what timber they're using for the fretboard, but it is a slab fretboard. And speaking of the frets, no sharp ends, which is very nice. You can run your hand up and down here and not get caught. The nut is pretty clean. It's a little bit square and no frills on here. There's a very slight blemish right here where you can see a little bit of glue, but it's cut quite nicely. The strings aren't catching on there, and you can adjust the tuners on here without it catching. So again, a big win. And I mean, anything other than bass functionality at this price point is really, really nice. The only complaint I would have is that the finish on the neck was a little bit tacky straight out of the box. Now that could be because it's come from the east coast of Australia to the west coast of Australia, and there's big changes in the weather and climate. I'll show you how I would immediately sort that out. And one thing I would do to the fretboard, just because you can see it does look a little bit dry, and I don't want to say dusty, but it could definitely do with a little bit of oil. A coat of lemon oil really does do some wonders on there. That looks and feels so much better, as does the back of the neck now that it is nice and buffed out and shiny. It is worth mentioning that you get more than just this guitar in this pack. Let's take a look at the other elements of this starter pack. You get an Artist Guitars headstock tuner, which is so much better than the old pitch pipes they used to give away with starter packs. Back in my day, those things were a crime against humanity. You get a set of strings on there, so not only can you restring the guitar once out of the box, you can actually get it into tune. There's a cable, your tremolo bar, and some picks. There is a gig bag in here, there's a strap, and there is this mini guitar amp in here, which has Bluetooth, so you can plug your guitar into this, get a guitar sound, and then also jam along to some of your favorite tracks. All right, the tuner works. It sounds okay acoustically as well, which is always promising. So neck pickup. Doesn't sound good on the neck pickup. It's not going to sound good if it's a Strat. That middle pickup sounds very, very good. I like the neck as well. The bridge isn't too tinny sounding, which is often a struggle on Strat style guitars. The little headstock tuner actually works. And a great tip, if you are a beginner and you've never used one of these before, if you know the names of the notes you're aiming for, you always want to be tuning up to pitch. So if you're trying to tune your E string and you go too far, well, bring it down well below pitch and bring it up until you get in tune, which should be somewhere about here. There we go. That's how to tune up your guitar. Let's go to the kitchen and try the mini amp out and see if we can have a jam in there. This is my favorite room in the house. I can hang out with the cats, make myself a coffee and noodle around on guitar. So I'm gonna do that. I've got the guitar plugged into the included little practice amp on here. This has a rechargeable battery. So if you want to recharge it, you just hook up the included USB cable. Then you can carry it around to anywhere in the house you want to practice. There is a clean channel on here with a volume and tone control. Then there's a drive channel that adds its own volume control and a drive amount. The point of difference with this at this price point is this has a Bluetooth connection. So if you want to hook this up to your phone and jam along to some backing tracks or lessons, you can do that really easily. We're going to do that in just a second. But first, I've got the volume control cranked all the way up. The tone is in the middle. We'll hear the clean channel and then the drive channel. I'm going to start with the drive channel controls all the way up because I figure that's basically what everyone is going to do. I've got the volume and tones on the guitar all the way up. We'll start on the neck pickup. Now, as you would expect from quite a small little amp, and I've got it next to this butternut squash that I grew. I'm so proud of this butternut squash. The amp is considerably smaller than this thing that grew in my garden. So it's not the fullest, loudest thing I've ever heard in my life, but there's plenty of grit on there. And also, this isn't the world we were living in 20 years ago where you didn't have free plugins available on your computer or your phone and tiny little interfaces. So if you did want to get a variety of different tones, there's also so many other options out there. Again, I need to stress that this is a starter pack with a fully functional electric guitar in it and a cable and this little amp to practice on. I think the idea would be if you buy this and you're a beginner and you go to your first guitar lesson, your guitar teacher isn't going to look at you and go, hey, you spent a bunch of money for no reason. You need to replace everything. This is totally fine. So let's hook up the Bluetooth now. So I've got my phone here. We need to press this little Bluetooth button and make it discoverable. So there's a nice little, you've got Bluetooth on noise to go with it. And then I just need to pair it. So this is probably the hard part of using this entire system here is getting my Android phone to talk to this. So I'm going to make sure that this is discoverable. I'm going to pair a new device and there we go. It shows up. Let's do it. Hopefully there'll be a pairing noise to let me know that I've done this. We're going to pair with that. I'm going to play a backing track from my buddy Backing Tracks by Tim. Let's try that. It worked. Awesome. Volume control from my phone. We're going to play some blues now. about everything you could want out of a starter pack at this price point. The guitar itself is really nice. If it was a 249 Australian dollar guitar, I think that would be worth the money. There are little add-ons like the headstock tuner, the extra set of strings, the gig bag, the strap, and the little practice amp really make it an attractive package. And I would be super stoked if I had a beginner student walk in for a lesson and they had this. You're setting yourself up for success there. It may not be an instrument that you play professionally in 2, 5, or 10 years' time, but that's not the point with this kind of thing. This is purely designed not to be a roadblock to you wanting to get into the guitar, and having an action and a setup and a fretboard that actually feels nice to play, having a finish and a body that looks nice, because aesthetics on beginner stuff are very, very important. We're all highly motivated by the aesthetics of the electric guitar. And then the fact that, yeah, you can just hook this up, get a guitar sound out of it, and say jam along to your favorite songs or some backing tracks on there. You know, this isn't designed as something that's like the ultimate tone machine. It's something that is designed to be a first step on your way to getting obsessed by the things that I'm obsessed by and that a lot of you watching this channel are obsessed by. I think also for someone like myself, you know, I've got friends with kids who are in that age bracket where they want to start playing guitar, and they start asking me like, hey, what should I get them? Or if I was going to buy a gift for a relative or one of my friend's kids as a guitar player, what would I feel comfortable gifting to somebody? I know a bunch of you are sitting there with your really lovely high-end instruments watching this as well. And I think when it comes to those top-tier instruments, we've never had it better as guitar players. That also applies to the other end of the scale. We really have never had it better when it comes to beginner instruments. And in this case, what I consider a really thoughtful little package that Artist Guitars have put together. So the fact that they're able to hit that 249 Australian dollar price point, which is probably around 150 US dollars at the moment, for a guitar that not only plays really nice and is really comfortable, it stays in tune. It comes with all the accessories. It even comes with a gig bag, which is something that I have not seen on instruments like 2 or 3 times the price. Like, you just get the guitar in a box and you're good to go. I think it's really impressive. I came into this video with some expectations because I've tried some other guitars from Artist Guitars. I've tried their 8-string guitar. I've tried one of their offsets, which I still have and I still play. I really, really like the little Falcon guitar. This one is similar. I think I might just change a few small things with the setup out of the box. That's something I would do with every single guitar that I play. And while this little practice amp is pretty limited in terms of the tones you can get out of it, I like that it was so easy to set up. I've tried some other Bluetooth compatible stuff recently, which has taken me more than 5 minutes to set up. And at that point, I kind of tap out. I think if you're a beginner, you want to spend time actually playing the guitar and trying to get better at it, not spending all that time trying to set up the tech around it. So I can certainly see the appeal of that. A big thank you to Artist Guitars for sending this out so that I could check it out. I was so curious to try the most affordable guitar starter pack that you can get here in Australia, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I will put an affiliate link in the video description if you want to check one of these out for yourself or somebody you know who might be starting out. And if you want to see me do some mods to this guitar and sort of push it into some interesting directions, let me know in the comment section below. That could make for a really fun little series. For now though, I might just kind of continue jamming out here in the kitchen. I'll say thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.